podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.
At Sports Social Podcast Network, we know you love great sports podcasts. That is why you're listening to this show. But do you also make a great sports podcast? Sports Social Podcast Network has teamed up with the Charles Tyrwhitt Sports Book Awards to launch a brand new awards category, Sports Podcast of the Year. From sharp analysis to documentary storytelling to the biggest voices in sport, we're looking to honour the shows that shape conversation, connect with audiences and showcase creativity, storytelling and production. You have until March 31st to enter, and full details can be found at sportsbookawards.com.
I'm Gary Birtles, one of the old gits from a long time ago. You've got to tune into Tricky Talks, I believe, so just do it. All the best.
Robertson, the first time we've seen them attack them, and there's Francis! Well, that's what I wanted to see Robertson do. And still Robertson, getting his shot in, and a goal! Robertson!
Hello and welcome to a very special edition of Tricky Talks. It is super special because it is all about the Garibaldi Girls today. So I am joined by, as always, the wonderful Chelsea. Chelsea, how are you doing today?
Very good, thank you. I'm very excited about today's podcast. The girls have taken over and I'm very happy about it.
Me too. And our super special guest, lifelong Forest fan, important to say that first, founder of the Garibaldi Girls and the person that you see on your social media feed every time you log on, we have Ellie Mollison. Hi Ellie, welcome.
Hello.
So today we are going to talk about the Garibaldi Girls. We're going to talk about the Garibaldi Girls Gala, which is a super mega night that is coming up, where we're raising money for Nottingham Women's Centre, but most importantly we are going to have a really bloody good time as Forest fans at the City Ground. We're going to live it large, so we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about ticket pricing, we're going to talk about Midtjylland and Europe and all the other random things that pop into our head as we go along. So if that's all right with you ladies, we will get cracking. So Ellie, just talk about how Garibaldi Girls happened. So it must have been quite a long process, and you know, we know that it's absolutely thriving now, but how did it all start?
It probably started first came to mind like in 2023. So I'd joined Her Game 2 as the Nottingham Forest ambassador, which is just a voluntary role where you the intention is you act as a conduit between female fans and the club. And there wasn't much traction there at the time, to be honest. I'd spoken to the club and I'd begun to work with the EDI officers and kind of tried to open conversations. But it was when I went to a Her Game 2 conference where Fulham Lilies did a presentation about Fulham Lilies and everything that they've achieved and why they started it. And I was like, that's a really cool idea. We should probably do that. So I put on social media, I think it was November 2024, I put out something saying like, oh, if I started, a women's supporters group, what would people say? And kind of just to see what people's responses were. And it got a really positive reaction. And I think someone from the club must have seen it, because only a few days later, I got invited to a Nottingham women's game in hospitality. But it was like a network type thing. So with different EDI officers from different clubs, specifically surrounding gender equality and obviously, race equality and things like that, to open discussions about equality within football. And that really opened the door for creating that women's supporters group. And from that moment, kind of started I think I first announced it on Not TV, which no longer exists. And it kind of exploded. I didn't expect it to get such a big reaction, which is really nice. it just shows that like the appetite was there. And then Sky gave me a call, and that was a bit crazy. So then I was on Sky talking about that. And then from that point onwards, we were working with the club, putting things together to try and, you know, make Garibaldi Girls happen. I promise there's a lot more that goes on behind the scenes. Admin in particular is like the bane of my existence. But we've come a long, long way since then, which was just like an early idea. And now we're doing crazy things. It's been an amazing journey, and the community has now got over 300 members, making us the third largest women's supporters group in the country.
Amazing, amazing. And Chelsea, you've been part of Garibaldi Girls since the very beginning, and part of, you know, forming that, being, you know, helping out with all the background stuff, which I don't do. I am very lucky to be a member, but I don't get involved in any of all the stuff that you do. So, you know, talk me through how that felt, like building it up, setting it up, getting to know people, putting it out there. You know, what was that like?
Well, it just felt a bit like, I don't know how you felt, it was a bit like the world was our oyster, really, Ellie, wasn't it? Like, we felt like we could just kind of do anything. It's like, well, what do we do next? Do we do this? Do we do that? Obviously, getting a charity partnership was huge for Garibaldi Girls. We very much wanted to do that, and that was definitely the heart of what we wanted to achieve as well. And teaming up with the Nottingham Women's Centre, and at the moment we are trying to raise a target to be able to employ a part-time counsellor for a year, which is something very close to a lot of our hearts, and is such a good cause to be able to do. And you know, the Nottingham Women's Centre obviously do a very, you know, they're great for the community, and they're a great help to women, and it just felt like the perfect partnership for us to be able to do that. So yeah, that's been absolutely so rewarding to be able to be a part of that. And I mean, we've made T-shirts as well, as Kate is very much sporting. I was going to wear mine today. It's very much just come out of the wash and soaking wet, so I didn't think that'd be a great idea. So yeah, it was great to be able to get involved with that. I know me and Ellie, and it was the tricky teas, not the tricky talks, which the lovely Sam, he very much helped. Me and Ellie were brainstorming loads of ideas, weren't we, Ellie, for the T-shirt with having I'm Just a Girl, which is very much our theme tune for the Garibaldi Girls. And yeah, it's you know, it's been amazing to be a part of it. And as our listeners who don't know, actually don't live in Nottingham, I live down south, and due to my own personal reasons I find it quite difficult to travel. So being a part of the Garibaldi Girls, and even like with this podcast, well, it's very lovely to be a part of it, even though I'm unable to be in Nottingham itself. So it's amazing, and yeah, I feel very, very lucky to have been a part of it. So yeah, it's all good. We love the Garibaldi Girls.
Yeah, I think from my perspective, you know, I'm a lot older than you two, so I've been a female Forest fan on the terraces for a very long time, and for me, it is, you know, when you said there's an appetite to it, when I saw it, first of all, I thought, oh my God, what an amazing idea, and why has this not happened before? Because as soon as I signed up, it is like finding your home, it's finding your people. And I'm a big believer in the Forest family, and that obviously does contain a lot of blokes. And you know, big up to Simon and Mollo, who we do this podcast with, who are amazing and do have absolutely the right attitude in terms of, you know, inclusion and female fans. But when you find yourself a group of people that love the club like you love the club, but also face the same sort of challenges sometimes in being a supporter, it's just a really lovely place to be. So from my perspective, I've had some great opportunities that have come out of being, you know, part of the Garibaldi Girls. I've met some amazing women, and I've got a lovely place to talk about football. So from me, just thanks, guys. It's brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant. I love it. So
I'm so glad.
So yeah, there you go. There's our Garibaldi Girls loving. We all love it. It's amazing. If you are a female listening to this podcast and you are not a member, check out our Instagram page, become a member, come and find your people. And, you know, we're open to female supporters, anybody that identifies as female, and also men that want to support or have, you know, females in their lives that support. So we're a nice group. So come and check us out. Okay. So now that's done, let's move on to things a little bit more football pitch related. So I don't know if anybody's aware, but we were sent an email today to say that the club have listened to what people have been saying about ticket pricing, and they are reducing the price of the Midtjylland tickets by £10, and anybody who has already bought a ticket should receive a £10 refund within the next, I think it was 28 days. So on my agenda to talk about was, how do we feel about ticket pricing, because it's a big narrative in the football world at the moment. And I guess now a sort of secondary question along with that is the £10 a gesture? Is it enough? Does it mean they've listened? Are we happy? Or could they go a little bit further? So let's start with you, Ellie.
I think I've been quite vocal about how I feel about ticket prices all the time, to be fair. And my opinion has always been football is a working class sport, and it was built by the working class, and therefore it should reflect that. I mean, Nottingham is a working class city at the end of the day, and the ticket prices should reflect that. And not just Nottingham, it should be the same for football across the country. Football is integral to English people's livelihood in many cases, as ridiculous as that sounds. It's so core to who we are. I mean, we're here 3 Forest fans. What would we do without Forest? And it's a genuine question. Forest is like, I live, breathe. I've forgotten how to talk to people if it's not about football. Like, genuinely, that is all I talk about. And the ticket pricing, I think football clubs need to understand that. I think they've lost touch. And not just Forest, I mean football clubs across the country have lost touch with the reality of what people are facing. I think they're so used to interacting with, owners and then the footballers themselves who are multi-millionaires, that they've forgotten about how we're actually living, what it actually looks like for us day to day, and how supporting football isn't a luxury, which I keep hearing. Football is not a luxury. It is a part of our culture. It is English culture, and it is a culture that we're incredibly proud of. It is a community asset. I think some businesses have also businessmen and businesswomen have pointed out that actually football is a loss-making industry for the vast majority of cases. I did actually write my dissertation on this because I'm a little bit of a sado, but also ticket matchday revenue makes up such a minimal percentage of the revenue that football clubs make. And keep in mind, revenue is different to profit, because a lot of football clubs don't even make any profit pretty much ever. And for that reason, I think hopefully I get this right, it's between 7 and I think it's 14% is what matchday revenue makes up. I could not find a definition for what matchday revenue was. That is cited by Deloitte's football money report that they do every year. I mean, does matchday revenue include, food? Is it just the tickets? I mean, it wasn't particularly clear when I tried to find it in the report. But even so, it makes up such a small percentage anyway. And an increase of, for example, say that increases £10 per game across a season ticket, which is another £190. That's a lot of money to a normal person. To us mere mortals who aren't on multi-million pounds, that is a lot of money. But that is next to nothing for football clubs. So I think it's really, really important that the most important thing is no one should be priced out of football. That should never be the case. No one should feel that and unfortunately it is happening. I know I have friends who are my age who were no longer in that youth bracket because that got removed and they had to give up their season card. And because they gave up their season card, they've pretty much lost it for life. And that's wrong. A, we're losing the next generation of fans. And B, we're losing... I know there's lots of talk of loyalty, and I'm very, very big on that. But we're losing the people who are Forest, who are Nottingham. Because the only people who can afford it are either the prawn sandwich brigade or the stupid people like me who buy Forest tickets before anything else. No, I don't recommend that. It's definitely not a responsible way to be acting. That's the problem now. And that's why we're losing atmospheres across the country. Because if you're a tourist or you're only going once in your life, and people mistake that when I say tourist, they presume I mean someone from a different country, a foreigner. which is not at all what I mean. Tourist is almost always someone who lives in England, and it's someone who doesn't actually support the club but thinks it's cool to watch a game. And it is cool to watch a game. There's nothing wrong with being a tourist, but there is absolutely so much wrong with football clubs prioritising tourists and wanting to get rid of season cards, which is kind of what we're seeing happening across the country. And again, this is not specific to Forest. This is a countrywide issue where season card prices are going up to ridiculous amounts and are becoming harder and harder to get. You pay to go on waiting list with no guarantee of ever getting a season card. I have friends who are Spurs fans who, after years and years of being on the waiting list, they've been on the waiting list since they were a child. Yeah. They were like 6. They've been on that waiting list. They finally get it. They get to the top, £2,500. Now, they were 20 years old when they were offered that. What 20-year-old has £2,500? That's outrageous. So who's going to these games? It's tourists who only go once or twice in a lifetime, because they go, they sit quietly because they don't know the songs. They don't particularly care about the result, because that's the definition of a tourist. They don't care about the result. They're there to experience football culture. But what football culture are they experiencing if the actual fans can't afford to go? So it's something that I'm really, I feel strongly about. And actually, Garibaldi Girls has been represented at the Football Supporters Association as part of the Stop Exploiting Loyalty campaign. And that is a brilliant campaign going on. And if you are a football fan and you resonate with this, I absolutely 100% recommend that you join the FSA. It's free. You don't have to be part of a membership group. You don't have to be Garibaldi Girls. You don't have to be part of the trust. You can join as an individual member, because football fans need to be heard. And there are so many narratives about what football fans really are, like criminals almost. You see it a lot in the media, as if we are these bad people, the scum that you don't actually want to be at the games because they're badly behaved. But do we look like criminals to you? And we're just as passionate and loud, as loyal as everyone else there. So if this is something that resonates with you, I really recommend joining the FSA, getting involved. And I think the Nottingham Forest Supporters Trust are doing some brilliant work at the moment in terms of their reporting. That report has just come out, and I think 2,000 people gave their opinions, which just shows that everyone is feeling it right now. So that's my rant over. I'm glad Forest have heard us. I do think more needs to come off. £50 to £60 is still ridiculous money, even after the £10, but it's nice to know that our voices are heard. I think they will hear it loud and clear when that ground is unfortunately not as full as it should be.
Yeah, and I mean, for me, so I have my season card, and then I have my 2 boys' season cards. So I have 3 to buy, and obviously the kids' ones are cheaper. But Sam falls into that bracket this year because he turns 14 this week of going up. So I'm now buying adult, youth and child. And, I've said this before, I consider myself to be very, very lucky in that I get to go to lots of games home and away. I get to travel to Europe to go and see them. I do that by choice. That's my choice. And I make it work financially with what I have. I'm really happy that they are refunding the £10. I think because £30, that's an away ticket. Which is, partially where the problem lies, isn't it? Because that's the first thing I thought when I added it up. Oh, that's my Sunderland ticket, wicked. But, I think everything that you've said is right. I was brought up on the terraces. My dad used to take me and my brother, and, I'm certainly from a working class background. My dad was very much working class. He would be horrified to know how much money I pay for a season card now. I sometimes feel I'll be up there with Clough and Taylor discussing, why this is happening to their beloved game and what's going on. I say that, it is something that I prioritise. I get a lot of opinions on whether or not that's the responsible thing to do as a parent, but it means a lot to me, so I pay it. So like you say, I would like some loyalty to be rewarded. I would like that to be acknowledged. I do think it's a step in the right direction what the club has done today. I am concerned that not only are there not going to be full stands on Thursday, But if you look on the website, there are a lot of tickets available for Fulham as well. And that's a Premier League game, and it's a blooming important one. So I'm glad they've heard. I'm glad they've done what they've done today. But as you've said, Ellie, I do think there's more to do, as always.
That's the thing. We don't want to end up being like, we know that some clubs are in the Premier League, where it's almost like our club has become a business rather than actually being at the heart of football. And to be honest, without fans, there will be no football. And I think that's what clubs just need to remember. And I don't want our club to be this empty, feeling quiet. You know, fans are at the heart of every football club, but especially Forest. And I do not want us to turn into a business like we have with some teams in the Premier League. And that'd be heartbreaking. So, yeah, totally agree with you both, ladies.
We're one of the few that's left that has a soul, and we can't lose that. You can't buy identity. No. You can't buy soul. And like I said before, it doesn't even make business sense. We often get cited FFP as a reason for why revenue goes up. Revenue goes up, ticket prices go up to improve that match day revenue, and therefore FFP. But when you think about putting like I said earlier, a marginal ticket price increase is so much to us, but so little to them. It doesn't even buy them a player. It doesn't buy them a single player, not even our cheap players. If you put ticket prices up considerably, it's still only like 2 million, which is a ridiculous amount of money. But when you put it in the context of football, what does that get you? And I think it's important to cite that the Premier League has a spending issue. It does not have a revenue generation issue. It has a spending issue. And quite frankly, I'm quite sick of looking at these multimillionaire footballers who don't quite understand the sacrifices us fans are making. They don't owe us anything, but at the same time, we don't owe them anything. But that's how I feel. I'm very sick of the modern game. I love the traditional game. I wish it was still the traditional game. I'm very proud to be part of the club that's one of the few Premier League clubs that still has a soul, that still has an identity, that still has that community value. I think Marinakis genuinely is really good at that community value. Yeah. And I'm hoping that it's heard loud and clear based on the fact that they're already making refunds, which is no easy feat for however many tickets they've sold. Hopefully they will reconsider the pricing strategy. And I think it will be for the benefit of the club massively.
So, tickets for European matches. We've got a home and away leg pending with Midtjylland. And I want to just move away a little bit from the more controversial stuff that there is around that and talk a little bit how it feels to be supporting Nottingham Forest in Europe. I was 16 when they were in it before, and I have some memories of it. And for you guys, it's first time round in terms of seeing Forest in a European competition, and actually just about seeing them progress in a European competition, which, you know, we all enjoyed so much, didn't we? I think I just want to take a minute just to reflect on that. Chelsea, obviously, you watch all the games with your dad, who's very old school, much like yourself, Ellie, much like I used to. So how does it feel to be in the knockout stages of this Europa League?
It feels great. It feels almost a bit surreal at the same time. I was so happy for us to be in the Europa, but I am that Forest fan where I go, okay, I'm just going to be a realist. This was like before the season even started. I was like, yeah, but what about what's going to happen to the Premier League? I'm an absolute avid Warrior, and that's always been my problem. And I was thinking, oh, no, what's going to happen to us? And I had this bit of like a sick feeling in my stomach. I really did. And I think, and now it's still very much there. Very much there. God heaven forbid why. But I still feel like that now. I'm still very nervous. I do try and separate them both. I mean, don't get me wrong, when I'm watching the games, it's like that whole worry just disappears, and I'm swearing and shouting at the telly, and I'm cheering, and yeah, I'm all there. I'm throwing myself in at the deep end when I'm watching the games with my dad. But I do have that nervous feeling still in my belly. I still worry about the league, and I still worry about the fact that we've even got, because the round of 16, it's just, wow, okay, yeah, we're still going and we're still in there and we're still soldiering on. So, and like you said, Kate, this is my first real experience of us being in Europe, and it is that realisation of, you know, how far we have come as a club, like from, you know, watching when I was little, you know, even in like the Championship and League One, you know, to the fact that we're now playing in the Europa. That's like, whoa, okay, this is like big stuff that's going on. So I mean, I love it. I will still always, Forest will always make me nervous. I know they will. That's why I think that they make us all nervous as fans at some point. But yeah, to be in the Europa is amazing. And like I said before, it's just a really surreal feeling. And you always imagine it when you were younger, and to actually be living it, it's just a bit of a dream, really.
Okay, and what about you, Ellie? I mean, we spend week in, week out talking about Forest with your dad, so I kind of can imagine the conversations that go on in your house. But how does it feel to be living it yourself this time round, and not that your dad's stories aren't important, because they're so important, they're part of our history, and that, you know, they've influenced me. My dad's stories have influenced everything to do with Forest. But how does it feel to be living it yourself this time round?
Oh, it honestly, like growing up, Forest have been like crap my whole life. And like in school, I always used to be like, oh, no, who's you support? And I'd say Forest. And like, because I spent a little bit of my life in the south, don't come for me. I'm born in Nottingham. I've lived in Nottingham like a lot of all my adulthood and since I was a teen. But I spent a brief period in the south, because I know people are going to come at me for that. And in that brief period, I remember being like, oh, who do you support? And I'd say Forest. Like, who?
Yep.
Like, what do you mean? Like, 2 years in the front, like, what do you mean? Who? And so being able to, like, and I'd hear my dad's stories, and he'd be like, yeah, I've been to Munich, and he'd have these, like, crazy stories of climbing statues and, you know, all that football stuff that you do. Won't say too much more for his sake. And he has, like, these brilliant stories. I was like, oh, right, Dad, I get it. I'm off to bloody Stoke, you know, and that's the highlight of my week. I get it. And I can recite all his stories by heart. And now to actually be able to not only, like, go, but to go with my dad is so nice. Like, I remember Seville away. I say it like it was ages ago. It feels a really long time ago. Seville away, Real Betis. And I, like, being there was like a religious experience. I use that quite a lot. But football really is a religious experience. And I remember just being in that ground and, like, thinking, oh, my God, like, we're playing Real Betis. And we're in a Europa League. This is real. This is happening. And then you get the whoa, and it's like shivers, and it's like insane. And it's just so much fun. Like, win or lose, we're on the booze. We're having the time of our lives. Honestly, I've visited countries I'd never been to before, seen places I never would have considered going to. You know, I've crossed off 3 countries that I'd never been to before in the span of like a couple months, and then like had the greatest time. I barely remember the football, to be quite honest with you, but that's like the point. It's so much fun. I have so many silly memories, so many like silly stories already. We're in the round of 16, and this is kind of where it gets real, because I think in the league fixtures, it's like really exciting. You're in the Europa League, but it's not this is it type of thing. And then obviously in the playoff it was. So that's really exciting. And this is kind of when it starts getting real, because it's actual, you know, how European competitions should be. That's another conversation. But it's kind of that exciting part now where, like, oh my God, every game matters. We're playing. I mean, admittedly, I don't think any of us expected Michelin to be the one that we're like a little bit frightened of, but here we are. But, you know, good for Michelin. They're doing very, very well. We're going to Denmark. I've never been to Denmark. I don't even know what's in Denmark. I know there's Lego. I'm going to find out. You know, it's going to be so much fun. And those journeys, the planes, it's sat on the plane, the cheapest plane I can get, doing change. Like, literally, I'm doing it the cheapest way I can. Me and my dad. It's like we're teenagers. Well, and he basically is. And then we fly on the day. We stay one night in the cheapest, crappiest hotel we can find. Leave the next day, cheapest flight. And that sometimes means changes. But, like, we're not the only ones doing it. There's Forest fans everywhere. You're on the plane singing songs. Sometimes there's delays and you're all abandoned in like Barcelona, which is what happened to us. And we're having the best time regardless. And it's just been so much fun. And I'm not ready for it to end, because it is just like, I will keep these memories with me for a lifetime, no matter what the results are. I can't even tell you what the results were for like Graz. I was there, I don't know. But I can tell you the fun I had. And I can tell you like the pre-match experience. And I can tell you about doing Jaeger bombs with random Graz fans in the street. And I can tell you about how I was sliding down banisters, absolutely walloped. And I can tell you about, you know, the guy that nearly fell over a balcony because he was celebrating. So, like, I can tell you all these things and I will remember these for a lifetime. And I'm so lucky to be able to do it with my dad, who I'm sure he's told you a million times. He was my age when he was traveling around Europe. So it is so lovely. And we've even like taken obviously we haven't been able to get them tickets, but my mum and my little brother have had the opportunities to go to some Forest home games. My mum's been able to go to one of the away days. And it's just been such an incredible experience. And I just can't wait. Also, Denmark, I don't know if there's any fellow Lego nerds here. I'm staying in Legoland Hotel. This is the dream. This is what dreams are made of. I'm going to watch Forest in Europe, and there's Lego.
Perfect.
What more can I say?
I think for me, I was there for the fall down. I was there when we got relegated the first time, and then the second time, and then for God's sake when we went down to League One. Like, I remember those tears. I remember that feeling of just utter devastation. And it was at the time, in the moment when the final whistles blow and you realise you are going down. And there's elements of knowing it before and seeing it come in. And we're experiencing a bit of that now with the threat of relegation. But that moment when that season's over and you are going down, that is a horrible feeling. It was horrible. And, you know, we're Forest fans and we're quite forgiving. And I think we're quite funny, you know. So we would laugh about the places we were going and, you know, how that felt. And we weathered it. And then it became the norm. You know, we spent so long in the lower leagues that then it became the norm. And every so often, the little, maybe you might go up, you might go, oh, no, we were just messing with you. You're not going up. That's not going to happen for you. You know, oh, you're in a playoff? Oh, that's nice. Yeah, you're not going to win it. You know, all of these things, have experienced the feeling of disappointment, the feeling of despair, the feeling of bouncing back the next season and cheering on and singing by far the greatest team the world has ever seen when you're in League One. You know, like I have done that, and now I get to get on a plane with my boys and take them to see Forest in Europe. And I will be honest with you, not a very long time ago, I never thought I would see that in my lifetime.
Yeah.
Couldn't see it. You know, we'd been down for so long, and Wembley was amazing. And I remember travelling to Wembley and telling them, you do know that we may not win this. We probably won't win this. You know, like trying to like prepare them for the gut-wrenching moment, you know, when we're getting in the car on the way home and we're still in the Championship. But we went up, and then we stayed up, and then we stayed up again, and then we had this incredible season, and now we get to do this. And I was around in the last time that we were in Europe. But to experience that as an adult and to be able to take my boys along is quite incredible. And like you, Ellie, I've never been to Denmark, so I'm very much looking forward to doing that. And I'm not going to lie, in one of my weaker moments this morning, I did have a little look on Skyscanner at flights to Stuttgart and Porto. So I try not to curse it. I don't save them, because if you put a little heart on them, then it's a curse. But it's okay just to have a little look, as long as you delete your browsing history. Yeah. Then that's okay. I was never on this website. You can't prove I was. So for me, putting everything else aside, I want to win. I want to win on Thursday. I want to win a week on Thursday. And I want to go again. And I guess that's where it gets you, isn't it? Every time. Okay, so let's take a little bit of a break from the normal talking now. And Chelsea, have you got an FPL update for us?
I have got an FPL update. I have. And why I've got an FPL update is because I had a fantastic week. It's probably the first and the only time I've had a fantastic week. And I even surprised myself. And was I going around telling everybody? Yes, I was. Did I absolutely gloat to my fiancé till the cows come home? Yes, I did. So I actually went up to 19th place. I went up quite a few this week because I got 86 points. So I was very, very chuffed with myself in that. I know, I done very well. Still not as well as some of the people in my family, but I'll definitely take it. Kate, you stayed in 26th place. You got 69 points this week. It's okay, Kate, as long as you stayed in and you don't go down any further.
Well, I went up the week before, but you weren't here. So I just want to put that happened. I did go up just one space and then I stayed.
Of course that happened the week I wasn't here. Of course it did. And then your dad, Ellie, he has gone up to 6th place in our league with 58 points, but he did have Tarkovsky on the bench, so he would have got an extra 15 points. But see, it was bad management. Bad management, Molo, I keep telling you. And then Simon, he's at the top of our little mini podcast league, but he's gone up to 5th with 63 points. We always say that he's like the FPL wizard. He always knows when to play the right chips, doesn't he, Kate? He knows all the strategies. He knows it. He knows everything. But I just want to say as well, for game week 31, it's a blank game week, which means there will be fewer games. So the likes of Arsenal and Man City, they're just a couple of the teams who will not be playing in that game week 31. So if you want to use your free hit or your wild card, if you have got, which I'm guessing a lot of people do, have more than one Man City and Arsenal player, that'd be a good time to use those. So I'm just going to have a little look, because I haven't done this for a couple of weeks, who is in the top of our league. So still reigning champion at the top is my cousin, Mr. Jack Harrell, with astonishing 1,768 points. I don't know how he does it, honestly. But, you know, he still likes to continue to tell me every week that he's at the top, so that's brilliant. He got 57 points. And then at the bottom, we have Stephen Brown, who scored 42 points this week. So, Ellie, did you say you do FPL?
Yeah, there is a Garibaldi Girls FPL.
Yes,
I'm not in it, which is really quite poor from me, because every year I make a team and I spend like hours planning it, and then I do like the first 2 weeks and then I keep forgetting to change my team, and then like half of them get injured and then I lose every year. So I'm just giving up. But I'm actually good when I remember, but I never remember. But there is a Garibaldi Girls League. I don't have it to hand because I deleted the app mostly out of like rage. I'm not a good loser. So join it. I can't tell you how it's looking. That's quite poor from me. You'll have to ask like Jack or Ruby. They know better than I do.
I do have it to hand. I've got it here. I've got the table right in front of me. So we're going to take this into consideration, because I'm actually 13th place in the Garibaldi Girls table. So I will take that. And at the top of our league, I don't know if anybody knows her, is Rachel Ryder. She must be a member. I'm not 100% sure who she is, but she is doing very well. I'm just trying to see where you are. Kate, see you're 20th in the Garibaldi Girls League. We'll start taking it from Garibaldi Girls.
How many are in there?
Doesn't matter, Ali, doesn't matter.
No, it's fine. It's 50. 50 are in our league.
Oh,
so that's fine, Kate. See? We'll take it from there. My poor little nephew, there was like at the beginning of last season, he put Ivan Toney in his team, and then Ivan Toney went to Saudi, and then he forgot his password and couldn't take him out of his team. So he kept saying, I need Chelsea. He said, I've still got Ivan Toney in my team and I can't take him out. So he just kept scoring him each week. Bless his little heart. But yeah, so that is the update for FPL this week. Thank you, Kate.
Thank you very much. Right, ladies, so I've got a quiz question for you. Are you ready? Every week, I'm sure you know this because you listen every week, Ali. But we do a quiz. We do a quiz every week on Tricky Talks.
I'm terrible at them.
So do you know what? You're going to smash this one, Chels. So your quiz question for this week, and you don't have to answer straight away. We'll give you a little bit of time to think about it, and we'll come back to it at the end. But your quiz question is: against which team did Murillo score his first goal for Nottingham Forest? Okay, I'm going to repeat it one more time. Lord. Against which team did Murillo score his first goal for Nottingham Forest? Right, So with that, while your brains are whirring and you're coming up with your answer, we're going to have a little look ahead to Thursday night. So we have the first leg against Midtjylland at the City Ground, under the lights, with a half-full stadium. But we want to win. We want to win this game. So I'm not gonna pose the question, should we want to win it? Should we prioritise it? Because I want to win it, and that's what's most important. So how do we win it? Who should we play? And we already know they're going to beat us up a little bit. So with that in mind, who should we play and how should we play? So I'm going to go to you first, Chels.
Strongest team. I say it every time. It's you. I do struggle. I understand why you obviously have, like, you know, your first team and, you know, A team, B team, however you want to call it. But when you are now going into effectively the knockout stages, you've got to put your first team out, your strongest team, and it just has to be. I've always said before, the brick wall of the back four, which is Aina, obviously Murillo, Milenkovic, centre backs, and then Williams. I've always said that back four I would always do. I understand a back five. I understand if you're going to play like Man City, and I get it. But I think we are stronger as a back four. I think Sells works a lot better with a back four. I think they make him stronger as well. And everyone just seems a lot more confident, a lot more comfortable. Equally, as that back four pushes through into midfield, creates more strength there, allows them to kind of, you know, move forward and attack and progress. Yeah, I say it every time, and I know I sound like a broken record, but strongest team always, please.
Ellie?
I can only agree. I think, in theory, if we were going to rest players in games, it would have been in those league games, as long as, you know, because we knew we'd got that qualification. But every time we tried to do that, we absolutely fell apart and put on an abysmal performance. So I've kind of said it all season, and I think a lot of people have misinterpreted what I've said, that our squad is paper thin, and I don't mean a lack of players. We have plenty of those, and we have plenty of money. I just mean we don't have quality. And I think there's a lot of potential there, and hopefully Vitor will be able to get it out of them. We cannot expect them to be able to get it out of them now. You know, he's had not a lot of time in pretty difficult, really, really difficult circumstances. So I think it's just go for what are reliable 4, hang on, can I count? 4, 2, 3, 1. Yeah, and I think that's the best thing that we can do. It would have been nice if Awoniyi was in the squad, but he's not in the European squad. I made that mistake the other day when I asked this question. I was like, I'd like to see Awoniyi come on, and I was reminded, no, that can't happen. So if anyone comes off the bench, it's going to be Luca up front, and with all due respect to him, I'm sure there's a very good player in him. He has shown it in the past, just not for us yet. So I would want Igor Jesus, definitely. That poor man must be so tired. It's really boring. I can't really say anything else. I want the starting 11. I think potentially bringing on a player like Yatesy as a substitution is no bad thing. They're a big, scary, physical team, and that's no bad thing. And who's better to disturb a physical team, to have that physical presence and to create issues, draw fouls, annoy the other team just in general? Ryan Yates. I'm not saying I necessarily would start him. Not yet. I think he definitely has it in him to be started for certain games. But I think given the instability, the inconsistency of this season, I would just bring him off the bench. But that's it, really. Not really much analysis I can give other than please just play our first team, please. And I agree with a back four. It totally made sense with back five against Manchester City. But I personally think back four is our preferred lineup at this stage. That may change over the summer. But at this stage, I think the back four, definitely. And we are technically and football-wise better than them. But fair play to Midtjylland. They've worked very, very hard. They put us in our place, and they've kind of shown everyone not to underestimate them, which hopefully this time we won't.
Yeah, and I agree. Strongest team. We've got to play to win. We've got to take, if we possibly can, a lead to their place and certainly be on terms. And I do think, say what you like, it's got to have been in Vitor Pereira's brief to do well in this competition when he took the job on. So I don't want to see massive changes. I want to see a strong team go out there and play to win.
I will be fuming if it's not our starting 11. I have to say, I will genuinely be absolutely fuming. I have not wasted all my money, spent all that money to then see a lineup that we know doesn't work and repeatedly shows us. I know lots of people say certain players haven't had chances. Lies, they've had plenty of chances, and I'm quite sick of seeing certain players get chances. They can have another chance next season when maybe they remember that they're millionaires and that they play for us and the badge and the fans. But I just want to see the starting 11. Anything other than that, I revolt. Revolt. And I love Vitor Pereira. I think he's doing a really, really good job, and I wouldn't turn against him. But absolutely, I want to start it. The only changes can be minimal. I considered Yatesy, but Sangare and Anderson together work so well. And for some reason, Yatesy and Sangare just doesn't work. And Yatesy and Anderson can work, but if there's a player I want to give a break, I'd want it to be Anderson. So I would just start Anderson and Sangare anyways. So, starting 11, please.
Well, I was having a little look at the table. We've finished 13th, and Michelin, they finished 3rd. So when you look at it as well, it's not just that we're in the round of 16. It's the fact that they finished 3rd as well. Like, they're a good side. So taking all of that into
consideration, they will tear us apart
exactly
if we play anyone but that starting 11. They need to be respected, because we're not, even with our starting 11 at the minute, we know we have the talent, but we are so disjointed, and understandably so. And that's through no fault of Vitor's. It's very easy to tear us apart, as we have seen. So we need to have that fight. I think that's kind of what we're going to need to rely on, because we know we've got the talent. We need to be able to gel. We need to be able to fight for each other, which I think we've been lacking in certain games. Well, okay, quite a few games. So this is going to be really tough. I don't know where Midtjylland is geographically. I discovered that throughout this tournament. But they are a good side, and we have to respect them.
Right. Well, on that note, I think it's time to talk about the Garibaldi Girls Gala night. Yes. This is the night where I get to be Cinderella, right? I get to go to the ball. Yes, yes. Oh, yeah. Finally, yeah. At the age of 46, I've ordered my pumpkin. I am ready to rock. Tell me, Ellie, tell me about the delights that are in store for me when I come to the Garibaldi Girls Gala.
So it's going to be held at the City Ground, and it's at the Robin Hood Suite. It's on the 28th of March, and it is 7:30 till 11:30. There's obviously a bar, don't worry, plenty of space for drinks. And you get in your ticket, which is £45, included in your ticket, you get one free raffle ticket included, and a 2-course, I call it a tapas style meal, because the menu is you get a glazed beef shin with truffle creamed potato and crispy onions. It's all very posh. And that comes in like a small bowl. And then as well as that, you also get duck breast with pear and charred corn, something like that. It's very posh, very nice, very good food. But duck breast, pear and charred corn. And that comes in another small bowl. So you get 2 small bowls, and then you also get a dessert, which is chocolate brownie with miso caramel and I think it's chocolate ice cream. So really nice food. We've picked a nice menu for you. And there will be music, there'll be dinner, there'll be drinks. The raffle is going to be amazing. The prizes are incredible. We've had well over 30 prizes donated from businesses across Nottingham and from Nottingham Forest as well, including a Nottingham Forest shirt signed by the men's team, a Nottingham Forest shirt signed by the women's team. There's also a signed Lee Wood glove. Lee Wood, as in Lee Fullwood, the 2-time world champion. And there's also a chance to win museum tickets at the Forest Museum for the stadium tour. There's Art of Football jumpers. There's a £75 voucher gifted by Tricky Talks for the raffle for the club shop at Nottingham Forest. There are hampers, there's makeup, there's Reformer Pilates, there's Trent Bridge cricket tickets, there's ice skating tickets. There are so many prizes. Your chances of winning are actually really quite high. So I like the sound of that. So it's going to be amazing. And as well as that, there's a little awards evening, nothing too long, don't worry. Jason Lee is our special guest who will be in attendance for the event and joining us on the night, sat at the table, enjoying a wonderful night with us. And there will be a photo booth as well. So if you're cheeky, you can get Jason Lee in the photo booth with you. And they print it, unlimited print, so you can take as many photos as you want to take home with you on the night. So it's going to be so much fun. Dress up. It's a chance to wear some nice clothes. I don't know about you, but any chance to wear a pretty dress, I'm down. And it's just going to be a big Forest celebration. All proceeds go to Nottingham Women's Centre, as Chelsea said earlier, and all funds go towards paying for a year's salary for a part-time counsellor to help vulnerable women. And I do want to say this is quite personal to me because I have received counselling myself from Nottingham Women's Centre, and I do think they are a really, really brilliant organisation. They do so much work for the community and they have really, really helped me as well. So I think in terms of what they do for the local community is incredible, and I would love to be able to help them and give back after everything they have done for me as well. So please come. It will be so much fun. Raffles great, food's great, company's great, and we'd love to have you there. So the tickets are in our link in our bio. That's Garibaldi Girls. They're everywhere on social media. I've tried to share it as much as possible, but bring your friends, bring whoever. It's all for charity, and we'd love to see you.
Absolutely. I can't wait. I'm going on a night out, and I'm not even wearing a football shirt. It's amazing. I got a dress. I got some shoes. I am absolutely there.
It's going to be an amazing evening. And, you know, everyone's worked so hard to do this. So, yeah, it will be absolutely fantastic. And the prizes are just outstanding. So, and I've just whacked my hand on the table. That's how amazing they are. So, yeah, get your tickets. Like Ellie said, link is in the bio. And just, yeah. And also become a member. Even if you're not a member, become a member, grab your gala tickets and just come for a bloomin' good night.
Yeah, absolutely. Fantastic. Right, so I think all that remains now is to do the answer to the quiz.
Oh, gosh.
So, the question was, against which team did Murillo score his first goal for Nottingham Forest? Ellie?
It was last season, which is not a lot to go off. Was it at home? I feel like I'm wrong. I'm trying to visualise it.
Was it a top 6 team? No. Oh, damn it.
They might have been at the time. I don't know. But not one of your big six.
Oh, that's not what I was thinking of then.
In my head. Oh, no, it's really annoying me. I would have been there. Like, this is I just want to preface, when it comes to quiz questions, I'm really bad at them when it's things like games that I was at, because the chances are I wasn't sober.
I'm the same. I just don't retain this kind of information, which is why I ask the questions. See?
Well, I thought it was Newcastle, but that's out of the window.
It is Newcastle.
I was
Was it actually?
In my head, I was like...
It was on the 10th of November. In our 3-1 home defeat to Newcastle, Murillo scored his first goal for Forest.
Ellie, you can take that with me.
It's not
you
memorable.
can take that with me because you were going to say it. That was going to be Ellie's answer as well.
No, because you know when like you don't win, so you just don't remember those goals. So you're like, wow, gonna forget that one quickly. Was that? I'm trying to visualise the goal. Was that the header or was it one of his worldies?
Yeah, he headed in a Langer assist. Yeah,
there. That's it. I think I can remember.
I think I was going to say, was that like from a corner? Was it? I wasn't a corner. It was a free kick or something, wasn't it? Like a free kick, was it? I think, and then he headed it. Was it? Might have been.
Yeah. See, now look at you go. Look at you go now. You got all.
Yeah, I am.
You got all the.
The problem is I'm going to get Mollo and Simon to listen back to this because they won't believe me if I just tell them that I got one.
No worries. So fantastic. Okay, so yeah, we nailed that. We totally nailed that. So all I think that is left to say is, once again, come to the Garibaldi Girls Gala, support, have a great night. Those of us that are going, those of us that are watching on TV, those of us that are listening on the radio, however you support, let's support on Thursday, let's support on Sunday. let's get the boys over the line, and let's see what the rest of this season is going to hold. So thank you very, very much for listening. Ellie, thank you so much for joining us on this Garibaldi Girls special. And yeah, we will put all the links of everything you need to know on social media, and we will be back again after the Fulham game with our usual crew of grumpy old men joining us. Bye bye for now.